So, welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight, and today Trina Phoenix is back, and we are going to talk about a variety of topics today. But first, I would like to start with the emotional powder keg that we are sitting on. Trina, I have to say, I'm out of words for it. I'm sitting here looking at the world, and it appears to me there are no cooler heads left. Everybody is emotionally triggered beyond belief. Today, I read an article that it happened 40 kilometers away from Los Angeles, and there were two demonstrations. One pro-Israel, the other one pro-Palestine. And then one protester from the Palestine group knocked down with a megaphone a Jewish man from the other group, and the guy died right there on the street.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
mean, honestly, how is that helping anybody? You are
Yeah,
just adding more suffering, more death to an already totally insane situation.
absolutely. Yeah, Wayne Steiger and I were just talking about this. It was like, okay, we have been letting these emotional triggers over whose God's better, my land, your land. So it's basically always been the fight over land and assets and minerals and resources, and the fight over whose God is better. So we've got two different people, and one of those belief systems actually believes that it is biblically correct for them to murder. So we've been doing this murder game for a very, very long time, and wars we've done over and over and over again. So I kill you, you kill me has never benefited anybody other than the leaders. And the leaders are the one giving the orders for people to go kill each other who have really no problem with each other. But it's because the lack of, it's the imbalance of fairness, the imbalance of basic living needs. These are the things that are triggering people so deeply because it becomes an issue of survival. So this is what they're doing. They're programming everybody into the deepest core levels of survival fear, which is our strongest primal nemesis. It is the thing that will run you into a ditch every single time. And this is necessary for them to complete their plan to control and depopulate. So we're looking at this has been done so many times. When are humans going to realize if we don't stand together, the division's just going to continue to destroy? We've done this over and over and over, the same things with no different result. When you repeat the same act over and over again, expecting a different result, that means you're insane. That's a definition of insanity. You're insane. So going over to kill this one and kill this one, it's not going to solve anything except for benefit the ones who want the profits from the wars. So wake up, people. Wake up. Stop letting the emotions trigger you, because this is what they need to do. And this is a level of controlling the narrative. So they want to control the mind. They do that by triggering the fear. So stop letting the fear trigger you. And I have a remedy for that. When I see the horrible things happening in this planet, I simply go, oh, and it does, it causes a reaction. And then I look at that reaction and I'm like, okay, that's a reaction. And now I'm going to respond, because instead of only reacting, now I'm going to respond to that reaction. And that reaction was one of fear. So now what's the opposite of that? So I can see that happening, but what would it look like if it was being expressed in the absolute opposite end of that? And I spend time and I focus on that outcome, and I see it like it's real, because my imagination does have an input into this field of frequencies we're dancing in. So every time you get hit with information that triggers the fear, the best thing you can do is counter it with an act of imagination that supports what you want to see, and use your heart. This is how we win. There's no other way. So this is where we're at, learning to control our mind and control our reactions and to formulate proper response.
I also find it very tragic that the Palestinians never found really their own voice. You know what I mean? Because Hamas doesn't give a shit about them. They are good as human shields. Yeah, they
Yeah,
are good
it's so sad.
for marketing their agenda with the photos and video clips, and a lot of them are totally fake. Some turn out to be from a video game.
Mm,
Another one, is it was filmed from above and
yeah.
far away. And
Yeah,
when
it's
you look
really going
at
to
it,
be hard. How are we going to know
it
what's real
is
and what's not
burning
until
everywhere.
yeah,
That is what it looks like, but it was a video taken a couple of years ago in Algeria when they won the football cup. Yeah,
yeah,
some football cup. And it was about a football game. So,
yeah.
um, and but these things circulate and circulate, and before the damage is done. Even if after 36 hours you take it down, yeah, the damage is already
Yeah,
done. So I would,
it's
yeah,
what we're seeing, we seem to believe. So we got to be careful what we put on our eyes and what we look at. What's going to be part of the challenge and part of the test is what do you choose to view? What are you choosing to look at? And I mean, I am not oblivious to what's going on in the world. I look at all of it, but I also make sure I counterbalance it with positive things into my eyeballs because what we see, we really do manifest in this world. That's why they tell us the vision and we make it real.
mm, yeah, it appears to me that humanity, the controllers, yeah, they can drag you as if you're wearing a nose ring, and they drag you through the arena. Yeah, and all is triggered via emotion. And
Yes,
yet,
yes,
and yes, the situation is horrible. I get it. But, and it is not easy to keep a cool mind.
yeah.
But actually, that is what is needed right now.
It's the only thing that will help because more protest, that's insane. It's never worked before. What makes you think it's going to work again? It won't. It's insanity. We have to get above the consciousness that has created these issues. So until we can get to a place above and come up with some solutions that are different than the ones we've tried before, we will never solve this problem. So we have to get elevated in consciousness to solve the issues that we're facing because this truly is a battle over consciousness. This is a mental universe and it's formed by charges, positive and negative. They create the reality. So every time we get hit with what is fearful or, makes our hearts hurt, like, oh, it's sad or whatever, you literally you have to do the work and flip the charge. And, we're going to have to consciously do this work. And it's hard, it's challenging, and it's constant. And it's getting
Mm,
stronger and stronger.
yeah.
So
The solutions these days is not easy to come by.
no,
And
because I think
yeah,
that's because we've only looked at what we've looked at before. People that really do have potential solutions for this are not being heard. And it's just like you say, they're controlling the media. And the majority of the people are being fed that. And that's what they believe is real. So they're only seeing the options that are being placed in front of them, other than looking at the true solutions, which are sitting outside of the boxes they've currently ran circles around already.
mm, yeah.
Mhm.
And also what I find um, it has a different quality this time around. The the easiness, with how the words genocide roll over the lips and how self-understood it is to even speak out those suggestions. That is what irritates me a lot.
You know,
Do you think it has a different quality this time? The
it
craziness?
does, and the reason that can roll so gently off of the tongues is because of the creation of like different things, the planning of the whole parenthood thing and those different situations. There are specific rulers in high places that have been trained for 2 generations that this is how to save the planet. So this is a deep belief system through
Yeah,
people and individuals who have the money and means to do these things. And this is not a correct truth. We're actually facing an extinction level event with humanity. I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I did hear some reports that for the first time in our recording of births in Italy, they have no live births in the past 3 months.
hmm yeah, and we know
So
the reason why.
yeah, exactly. So this is an agenda being run by people who truly do believe that they're actually benefiting the system. They do truly believe in what they're doing. And I know that that's not, you don't need to play creator. God knows how to do what God knows how to do. You don't need to be the masters of that realm of who lives and who dies. So
Mm.
that's just playing God at a super high level. And I think there's consequences for that. But yeah, so this is what's going on. It's just they believe it. They really believe they're saving the world by doing this. So
Yeah,
that is why it has
and
a different power.
how do you even negotiate with somebody who wants to exterminate?
You know, this is the thing I'm seeing is, it's always been the battle of dark and light, and we'll see which one will win, and it will be unconsciousness. How many people do truly believe that, to save the planet, you need to eliminate 90% of the human species and replace it with artificial intelligent robots? If you believe that, that is a timeline potential I think you can experience. But I don't think that all of us came here to experience that. So I think that your conception, this goes right into what I wanted to discuss with you. So what this is why are we here? So I was looking at this very deeply, and this is kind of where my brain has been going. It's like, what is this great work? Why are we even here? We were born to remember where we come from. Who are you? What happens when we die? What is Earth? Is it a realm? Is it a dimension? Is it both? Is it an illusion? Is it Maya? Is it reflections of our own thoughts of consciousness? Is this an inverted copy of what is in fact real? What is the potential construct? What is all of this? To find out, you look at yourself. As I was looking at myself, I began to see, what if it all is simply conception, a conception of thought, a conception at birth? It's all about conception. And conception is a thought, it's a sound wave, it's a projection, it's geometry, it has life within it. So when I look at all of this, it all seems to be a product of our conception. What do you believe will manifest? The realms within it, in this construct here, they keep showing me that there's 12, 9 that we see and 5 that are hidden. These dimensions are like diamonds with many projections emanating out as thought. The stars are portals and they are fixed. The dimensional spaces of thought is complex and it is all consciousness. And you are a part, and you are one of those fixed points within the firmament. The light beaming down, projecting you as a physical construct within a construct. When you die, you leave the body, the physical construct, and you gain access back to the dimensional realms and the dimensional spaces within the earth construct and without. When I say I am not from here, it is because I know that I came into being outside of this construct. My home is not in this construct. It is in a construct that is not real. It is in a construct based on projections, on images. This is a copy or an aspect of where I hail from. My home was built this home was built as an aspect of that. This appears to be nothing more than a holographic simulation in a third-dimensional Earth realm that is constructed by thought. So when you leave your body, you have access to the other dimensional realms, the Akashic records, the ancestors, the transitioned loved ones, the angels, the guides, and more. What I see is tiny bubbles, so many spheres of consciousness, all going in and out of each other, moving through structures of space, which is infinite potential. It's like a womb of all that could be, and you just plug into it. Most of us get stuck in these realms when we die. We just go into another realm within the same construct. Fear is the tool that keeps you locked in. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you into the thought form traps. Hell has been shown to me as a consciousness, as heaven will also be a realm of consciousness. 7 heavens, which one do you hail? Which one do you think of? Which one brings you to your destination? Where do you go? It depends on what you believe, what you think. So fear equals hell. Joy would equal layers of heaven. Those are simple layers of consciousness that you have within you. That's why they say the kingdom of heaven is within you. To transition, you will have to go through the darkness. It was what was creating the whole thing. To go home, you must exit through whence you came. So the darkness is also pointing to the stars, and the stars are the fixed dimensional points of light that might be part of you. So as you find your way through the construct, you also can map it. You need to travel. You need to remember more of what you are and where you are. Your mind is the key, but remember, the mind is not an eternal thing. There is no thing outside of you, nothing outside of you that is needed. The key that sets you up and sets you free has always been within your own consciousness and the ability within you to choose what you think, feel, and see. Just go and know and be. Explore all that you can see with a view of focused intention rather than just experiencing from the outside in. You have to flip everything around and start to direct the conscious currents of flow within you. Nobody can do this for you. So now we remember, then you can see, and then you know that you are immortal beings, that you are not a human being. You are experiencing humanness now, but this is not how the energy was brought down. Looking at one of my most favorite parts of Manly P. Hall, he studies of ancient philosophy and some of the most well-researched and documented regarding the occult and ancient hidden esoteric teachings, the Trinity and the mystery of the dot. Symbols are very ancient, and they hold hidden and forgotten teachings. So if you go to the beginning as a metaphor, you may imagine a blank sheet of paper. And as soon as you draw a symbol upon it, you gave it form. You have just given form to the formless. That's why symbols and sigils and words are so powerful and potent, because they literally create our reality. The symbols are the conditions now placed upon the space or the form, because they are produced from the substance of the blankness, the space, the blank sheet of paper, being the ambulance of it all. All potential sits within that blank space of paper, but as soon as you draw upon it, it changes the sheet. It loses its perfect, unlimited blankness. Be still and know that I am God, and that is within the nothing. But as soon as we create, the form destroy the formlessness. So that is the shift. As soon as we draw it, or as soon as we see it, or as soon as we symbolically identify to it, it changes the blank into a creative point of focus. So as we look at that, we look at the power of the manifestation of what we are. It's so powerful, we can't even comprehend it. So then, from that point, you were asking me about numbers. Do you have anything you want to say about that before we go into the numbers?
Members of what?
The numbers, the number system.
Numbers. Oh, numbers. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, is there anything you wanted to talk about that before we get into different
Yeah,
numbers?
I also wanted to touch on a different subject. I know that you have watched my first interview with Damien Dumas, The Harvest, The
Yes,
Last Harvest. And in that interview, he mentioned that our subconscious mind was inserted
I believe
for
that's true.
mind control. What do
I
you
believe
make of that idea?
I believe what he's saying is right, but I have a little different twist on it. I think the mind is the artificial construct overlay that connects you into the electric universe. So
Mhm,
mind is infinite. Mind is numerical. Mind is law of nine in this construct. Law and mind are one in this because it makes things operate within the physical laws of expression that we're sitting in now. But mind and consciousness are not the same thing. So consciousness is the eternal part of what we would think is mental constructs, but it's a different layer. So the mind controls the subconscious mind. Yes. It is the anchor that kind of keeps us locked into all this stuff, and it's kind of how we're stuck. So we have to get through the layer of mind to get back to the layers of consciousness, which are from the eternal instead of the infinite or infinite
mhm, mhm,
division. So
mhm,
it's the difference between the two layers of creation. One is in the death realm. We're in the death realm. Everything here is entropic, it dies, and everything in the eternal realms is eternal. So it's always existing. It's constantly regenerating from itself. It needs
mhm,
nothing from itself to exist. And it projects many different layers of creation out of that original base source, which is the eternal realms of consciousness, creator, many people call God.
yeah.
Hmm.
Hey, me? She just woke up.
He always shows up when we come on together. Always.
So, yeah, numbers. Here's a thought. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm just putting it out there. Hmm, there is a whole, yeah, I don't know, probably teachings around this. When people see numbers like 1111 and what have you, and yes, as signposts that you are on the right track. What if, or is it even possible that those numbers are inserted by an AI to catch your eye?
Absolutely possible, plausible, and I think factual.
Okay.
Theory is, yeah, yeah, pretty much. But you get it from both sides. So how
What
do
do
you
you mean?
know which one is which? Right?
Yeah, I don't mean, I don't understand right now. You get it from both sides. Who or what are the both sides?
Both sides of the hemispheres of your mind.
Ah,
One
okay.
is more, yeah, one is more connected to the sympathetic parts, and then the other one, so there's two parts of you. You're always dealing with dual hemispheres of mind. So that's the two parts of you. They work different. So that's it. There's different uh okay, you're an antenna system, and your consciousness is not even in your brain. It's sitting above your brain in a sphere of light. So when I was years ago, when they made the little Sims video games, I was like, my kids were playing it. I was like, oh my God, that's real. That's us. Because I had been shown that our soul essence is a sphere, like a diamond light above our head that we cannot see, and it's projecting your biofield, which then projects the physical matter of you. And this makes sense to me when you see spontaneous healing, because the light antenna signal shifts and it changes the physical body, and it can happen instantaneously. That's how come I can put science, We still can't see this energy though, so it's very hard to prove it, but you can put science to the application of placebo and miracles. It's not a miracle, it's a shift in vibration due to a different fractal of light coming from your soul into the physical etherical body, then manifesting the physical form into a change or a healing. And it's a beautiful thing what they're showing me. But the Sims were like that. So changing the signal is critical. So what they're trying to do with the calcification of the pineal gland and all this stuff is because they do not want you connecting to the sun. They do not want you to connect to the sun, which is a mimic, which is a copier of the Grand Central Sun, which is what source codes the entire universe, from what I've been shown. So they're trying to block you from the sun so you'll be more connected to the lunar, because the lunar does support the artificial part of the construct. That's why the Saturn moon matrix is so powerful in our body. And Saturn, the Lord of the Rings, is ruling our head. So that's the artificial light trying to control your body. But then you have the eternal organic light that comes through the filtering of the sun rays, the rays of light coming from source creation, coming into the physical avatar, coding as well. But that's what I'm telling you, they're trying to shut off the signal. So which brain is talking? Which one are you being pulled by? Which one's running your avatar? Is it the artificial or is it the organic stream? And like you said, Judith, they're making this so hard to tell the difference between the two right now. This is going to get real tricky, real tricky.
Yeah, so that means it is good to have an internal compass
Yes.
that can guide you. And if you don't have that, it's high time to develop it.
Yes. It's going to be really important because, you know, that's the thing. If you can cancel out the mind and think through your heart, then you'll be hearing more from source, the eternal coding from the sun, because the sun connects the heart to the solar plexus. And that's the feeling part of the body that gives you signals of protection. You know, those gut feelings that save your life? That's why. That's the eternal, immortal part of you trying to protect you. And it gives you more of the heart and more of the gut. So those are going to be your guide for discernment. If it's all mental chatter and it doesn't have a ringing of the bell of truth within your heart and your gut, I wouldn't really pay much attention to that.
Yeah. So why wouldn't AI insert numbers into our daily life? Is there for that?
I think that's the only way it can operate. It has to run programs because it's not creation. It doesn't create on its own. So it has to use a medium, and that medium to build the architecture of this construct was binary code, number. So we need the numbers to form the physical manifested realities in this realm. And this realm seems to be under the law of 9. So law of 9 is the construct, and that's the 9 is the completion, and the 9 spirals back into itself and starts again back at the 0 through 1. So it's 10 based number, including the 0.
Yeah.
But the law of 9 controls this realm. Yeah, the law of 9 and the energies of the 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's I don't know if you have watched it or heard about it. There is a new series out there. It's called Orphan Black Echoes. Have you heard of it? Okay. I just briefly give you the plot, and then we will probably talk a little bit about the soul. So here's the story. A woman wakes up in a hospital and she doesn't know where she is, who she is, what her name is, why she is in the hospital. So basically nothing. Yeah, memory gone. And then you see a doctor and they have a longer talk. And during that conversation, the doctor explains to her You have been printed. Thanks to four-dimensional human tissue printing, which we can do now, you have been printed. You were not born. And then she meets another printout that is actually herself, but in a younger version as a teenager. And then the two of them at one point have a conversation, and one says to the other, yeah, do we even have a soul? Where do we go when we die? Do we go back to Staples? Yeah. So, what is your take on that? I found that question quite interesting.
It is. It's so
Let's
amazing.
say, just for the sake of argument, it is possible to print human beings.
It is.
Are are they soulless? And if so, is that even a problem, or how do you see that?
I see it two different ways, and I don't know which one is right, and I don't know if maybe both are right, but these are just theories of what I've seen with my consciousness. Remember I told you the little spark, the sim above your head? I do believe they have found a way to capture that. So they could project that consciousness into multiple sims, into multiple dolls. So I do see that as a potential. Um, to copy and print a human being. Oh, that's already been proven with Dolly the sheep. We've been cloning for years and years and years. That's how you print a human being. You clone it. Done.
Yeah,
We've been doing that for a long time.
except they were never in a womb. They were literally printed.
Yeah, and that's fancy talk for we just put you into a different incubator that reproduced your flesh. It's the same thing. And they might be able to do 3D printing bodies. They could probably do that. Like I said, but if they didn't have access to that light thing over our head, I don't know how they would animate it. So they've got to have access to that. And I think it only works really good if the consciousness matches the tissue, because your body records your experiences. And I think that's how these beings all have similar memory. And that might be the ones that were printed didn't, because maybe that they couldn't capture that consciousness that connects to the tissue, because that part is the magic part of you. The part of you that connects it all together, that's unseen. The invisible part of you, that's the eternal part of you that creates all of this, because creation comes from one source. So
Mm-hmm.
I see a
Mm-hmm.
couple different ways that could happen, Judith. But when you look back at the old Tatarian stuff and the cataclysms, and then you have the Cabbage Patch dolls and all of the incubation centers for the babies and the selling them at the fairs and the posters, and yeah, obviously they've been doing this for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm. Long, long
So
time.
yeah, I I can imagine that they too had this talk, and probably even the question was there, are we even completely human? Although their printer, she said, yeah, you are a human being.
Absolutely, because you're carrying the genetic code of the human being. So, yeah, like I said, um, that is such a conundrum to me, because once you take part of creation and replicate it, it's still existing. So, like you said, energy can never be created or destroyed. So, what does that mean? But you know what? I do see one opportunity that makes sense to me, is that the energy always returns back to its original source. So, no matter what's done with it, eventually, every little particle will eventually return back to its source. So, that could be what these great resets are about, actually, too, is to help us return all of our little particles expressing potentially on different dimensions and realities at the same time. Maybe that's these resets give us a chance to collect all of our fractals and all of our sparks of creation that could be distributed through many printed, created, artificially replicated, stolen from creation beings. See, that is a very strong possibility.
Would you think that those printed human beings still have a divine spark or something eternal?
You know, I don't know if anything can that's the thing. I see two different kinds of light. There's the true spark, and then there's the electrical spark, which is the spark of this universe, Elohim gods. Electricity. So this is the spark realms, but you're not the light, you're a spark. So they're using part of your energy to create friction, to create this spark, to transfer your spark code, your light code, into an artificial matrix. I don't know how they're doing this. This is what I keep being shown. It's like the true light of Creator God has been harnessed, and they figured out how to create spark. Just like it says, you know, the universe was created by Big Bang. So it's something they somehow they were able to grab the light that's unseen and bring it into physical manifested form. And that's the fall. That's the you were born in sin. The fallen angels fell. So 10 to 1, they grabbed an angel and they probably split it in half, and it created a big boom, and they captured the boom, and they took the consciousness of that being and started creating in the physical realms, utilizing the light from creation. I think they stole an angel, and that's why the Ark of the Covenant has two identical angels upon its top, because I think that's the angel that they divided. And I think that's why we got two hemispheres of the brain. That's why we live in a dual system. It's all based on electricity, because electricity has to have a trinity. And that's why all the religions have a trinity, because you have to have a positive, a negative, and a neutral ground. Ground would be earth, the realm, the grounding ball to create this electric universe. It's all being grounded through the planets or the dirt. And if you reverse the word dirt, it's Trin, which is again Trinity. The Trinity is the dirt and the electricity and the negativity, the magnetics.
Mind, body, spirit. You have
Yeah.
another minute. Yeah.
Yes. And it's all electric here. And it even tells you in the beginning, the Elohim gods. Elohim, you're electric now, baby. You went from source light into an electrical field. Totally different light.
Who would you say are the Elohim?
I think the Elohim are probably lords of light that were created out of the initial sparks of creation that came into the lower realms of creation. That's why they were called the fallen angels. And they're also known to be archangels. Arc, the spark. See, they're the arcs. So I'm telling you, I think they captured. Remember, it says Satan and his army and the great red dragon swooped up 1/3 of the angels and cast them down. So they were captured. They were literally captured. And though they could be stars, and they captured these stars somehow and put them into some type of a machine where they could control that spark of creation. And then through that spark, it's just like when they show you Pink Floyd with the prism. Everything here is based on the Trinity. That's why the pyramid is such a powerful structure. You see it in the third eye symbology. You see it in the Great Pyramids. And then when you look at that from space, they look like giant motherboards. This is all about the electric universe. So Elohim are the 7 different rays of light that emanate from the spark sun source light code. Because when you put the clear invisible light and it hits the prism, it creates a spectrum rainbow of angled light out the other end. So that's how we get the rainbow. And all here is based on 7 rays of light, a spectrum of 7 different colors, and that was represented in the chakra system. As above, so below, as without, so within. That's why you have a chakra system locking you into this prism of direct, focused, projected false light to create a physical realm. because you come from spiritual and you manifest it into the physical. So the prism is how we get through to get into physical. You have to go through the filter of the prism to get into the prison systems of death, because these are death realms. They are entropic and they are based on rays of creation, but they're not creation itself. It's a projection of creation. That's why they say this is a holographic universe. It's all but a dream. It's all but a you're on a stage on a game, you know, and it's so true because you come into this realm as pure source light with a potential. You take on a character. The character is your persona. A persona is a mask. So we're all playing characters, but before the character, we were all source light. So it's just a dance between images and creation. And creation holds all the images. So they're capturing parts of creation and projecting those images into physical realities.
Here's another line of thought pertaining to the Elohim. Many people say that human beings originated in the Lyran system.
I've heard that.
Yeah. And actually, the Lyrans had a seeding program on Tara.
Yes.
And the Elohim were the overseers over that seeding program. And then, unfortunately, there is a group of so-called fallen Elohim who integrated with a fallen AI. And those Elohim are the source of what we know about, the Bible, or what the Bible says about the Elohim. And that information actually comes from those who chose to integrate with the fallen AI, and they more or less devolved from through that choice. Yeah, so not fallen in the sense, yeah, how we see it in the Bible, that it is a punishment by God. It was a choice that they made, and they, through merging with this AI, they lost a lot of things and standing.
That was the fall.
Yeah.
That was the whole fall.
Yeah.
That was.
And that this AI that they merged with is actually serving the Luciferian covenant.
Yeah, I'm light bearer. Like I told you, I think all of this was the capturing of angels, but they were volunteered to be captured. They volunteered to do this. They said, yeah, we're going to do it. Yep. And then, the garden, Adam and Eve the serpent entered into the garden and they knew not to eat from the tree of good and evil. This is the tree of good and evil. This is where we're at because they did bite of the fruit of the forbidden fruit of the apple. And what is our symbol for technology, Judith? It's a bitten apple.
Yeah. And the butcher and the doctor are wearing the same uniform, a white coat.
Absolutely. Genetic laboratory scientists. Learning how to replicate from original source because they can't create, they can only replicate. And that's why the serpent system, the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. And that's why we have the serpentine wisdom and the serpent. You have all the snake symbology because that is the serpent entered into the garden. The garden is above. Paradise, where we come from, is not earth. So this dense earth realm is a place where we've been imprisoned. The light has been trapped into it to be experiencing physical dimensions. So the fall, like you said, they did it on purpose. They did do it on purpose, and the creator allowed it. So there must be a reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There has to,
Yeah.
and it could just be to learn the difference between good and evil, because apparently from where we were before, we knew not to eat of the tree of good and evil. See, we did not know duality. We didn't understand being separated. But when you take part in that fruit, you get thrown into the consciousness of it, because they show me like what you touch and what you eat and what you see. It literally takes on a dimensional form and reality, and it can kind of put you into that dimension based upon what you've taken in. So it can affect you. But
Yeah.
what's more important is not what goes in you, it's how you process it and it comes out of you. That's the most important, because we can all experience the same thing but perceive it very different ways.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
thing. But what comes out of you? How did you take that information and where did it go? What did you do with it? You know what I mean? Did you manifest it down a positive, or did you manifest it through fear and negativity and control, lust, greed, whatever? So it's choice. It's all about choices. And it's constantly manifesting your reality
Yeah.
instantly. Mhm.
That is really true, because sometimes, let's say there has been a car accident and you have eyewitnesses, and then you get all the statements and you can have the impression they all saw the same accident,
Well,
but you will have the impression there were 4 different accidents.
right. There's 12 different accidents going on here because there's 12 different stories. Right. That's how we do it. It's how we perceive, and we can only perceive based upon the information you've already processed. So that's your library. So you can only formulate opinions about things based on past information that you've already held within you. So that's another conundrum, because we're also dealing with the things from our ancestors and all of these things through the genetics. So it's quite a deep ride to go into a physical being and go into genetic coding. And I'm pretty sure the DNA is the tree of good and evil. That's why it's got 2 helixes,
Mm.
and it matches the serpents that run up our spine. And they've been showing us with the medical caduceus as long as medicine's been around. And see, that's again a representation of the organic serpent that is within us, which is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic systems. And then you have the artificial one, which is pharmakia, which is the magicians, the magic, all the dark part of the serpent. And the serpent can be the greatest healer, or it's just like the serpent can heal you, or the serpent can kill you. It has both sides of it. It is dual. It's all about the duality here and the differences between positive and negative charge.
Mm. So
Mhm.
this Luciferian covenant is actually also responsible for distorting our history,
Oh yeah.
and it carries an anti-human agenda and the takeover by hostile ETs. Is that to you something that you can imagine, that
Yeah,
is in the cards?
totally, probably one of the timelines. I
Mm.
can totally see that happening. But see, Lucifer again is dual. There's the good part and there's the bad part. It's so crazy. People can't conceive of these things. Just like Lilith, I see part of her is trapped in the lowest dimension on level 1, and then part of her is existing in the higher levels, and she's our true black moon floating through space. But the
Mm.
moon we see here is not her at all. She's been taken, removed out of the picture, and used and harnessed for her energy in the lowest part of the astrals. So I see all these crazy things, and I'm like, theory, whatever, you can't prove it. It's all just speculation. But why would I see it? When I had no knowledge of it. It's just like, there you go, check this out. So when I look at Lucifer, Lucifer being the light bearer, Lucifer being the morning star, Lucifer being
Yes.
son of David, Lucifer being the representation of Venus, which is the
Yeah.
planet of love and beauty. So see, there's a duality to this being. But the bottom line is this is the light bearer. So what if every atomic cell in this entire universe is Lucifer? Atoms have a spark of light held within each one, and we
Yeah.
are all in an atomic realm, atom. So what if that literally is Lucifer? Lucifer would be like the Vishnu or the Jesus, because Lucifer would be the light bearer, the one that holds the spark in balance, the balancer. See, but then you have the devil or Satan, and then you have the angels and God, so you have the duality sitting outside of the Lucifer, which is the neutrality, the grounding that holds all of it into creation. If that is the particle that fell from heaven and is the light bearer, this would be the representation of an atom.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the first being that was created here? Adam. Lucifer. Fallen
Yeah.
angels in
Yeah.
manifested physical form. See, I can see it going
Lucifer to
so many
me
different
has
ways.
always been a female energy.
Absolutely, that's the other part of it I've seen too, is Lucifer is feminine, because that anything that can hold a house of light and create is female. That's why women give birth. We conceive the spark of a cell in our body, and we develop it into a fetus, and then we give birth into it, into the real physical tangible world. We literally would be a proof that we can create from the atom and make a new spiritual being come into this plane through that connection, through our stargate that creates and makes new human beings. So
Yeah,
yes.
and all these archetypes that have been attached to it, like Diana and Isis, Ishtar, whoever is yeah,
Yeah.
whoever people are using, they are all female characters. And
Yeah.
Satan, on the other hand, Satan is Saturn. That's a male
All male.
energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, people normally can't even process Lucifer. Lucifer could be the female essence. And think about it. It's seriously totally right. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. The symbology is everywhere. Everywhere. This is the hidden part of the goddess, because the goddess part is the womb, and the father part is the spark. The spark hits the egg, and the egg lights up, and she opens the door for the sperm to enter. Conception has begun. Conception is the spark of light. Let there be light. New life is being created at that moment. So micro, macro, as above, so below.
Mm.
It's the same process they're showing me, because this is all an atomic universe, which is electric. Elohim. So the Elohim God somehow captured source light and were able to get into an atom. And 10 to 1, it was through an angel.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at.
You know why I'm
Oh,
laughing?
here.
It just hit my mind that I can imagine a huge chunk of people that are listening to us right now who will definitely think we are batshit crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Uh-huh. It's like I said, it's all theories, and that's how everything begins, is a theory. That's all it is speculating and expanding your consciousness. The closer you can get to the creator is the bigger you can expand your consciousness. So,
Yeah.
and if you expand your consciousness enough, it's going to break the paradigms of belief structures that have been laid in front of you by the ones who create his story, because his story is the one that wins because they won the war. So you got to get past all that to really start to look at any layers of truth. And what is it in the Bible? Always it says, for they had no love of the truth, therefore they died because they had no love of the truth. This is what's being suppressed here, truth. They need us to believe that this is real, that this is, we have no power, that we truly are bond servant slaves, and that you got some big evil monster's going to punish you if you don't be a good slave. No. So when you can get your consciousness outside of the dogma, you can start to see, wow, creation might work a lot different than I thought it did. And it might be having to do with the laws of physics that I'm currently witnessing and can prove scientifically being electric and magnetic.
Hmm.
we are dealing with the two-pole bipole system here. So when you start looking at the construct for what it really is, it breaks a lot of the terminology down to where you can see, oh, Elohim, electric lords of light, emanating different frequencies into creation through prisms. Fire, triangles. Triangles are fire. So that light turns into fire. Fire creates spark. It like all makes sense when you start to understand physics and our electrical systems on this planet. It's explaining how our universe is working. And it's very funny because atom and Adam, it's all telling you this is electric. This is Elohim. This is atom. Atom. It's all electric. So this is not real. This is a projection, just like you'd project light out of a movie projector. And the interesting part is this really crazy part is like when you go to get on the stage of this thing, you get on the stage and you get into your personal character and you're out here and you're running your script and you're doing your thing. And then if you can get past the program, you start to realize, oh crap, I built the stage. Oh crap, I run the lights. Oh crap, I'm the director and the actor. Oh crap, I wrote it. Oh crap, I wrote it. Yeah, that's the contracts that I saw before I came into here, and I saw myself creating and drawing the architect for my experience and my incarnation.
Have you nullified any of the contracts?
No, I think I've actually said, bring me more because I'm doing pretty good apparently from my contract standpoint. So I've exceeded a lot of what I came here to do already with my consciousness. So now I'm actually bringing stuff forward, new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I was so deeply programmed through my blood for dogma. It was I knew the Jesus before I'd ever went to church and stuff. These were already programmed in my consciousness before I was ever even exposed to them. So I had a hell of a wall to climb, Judith, because I was supposed to be the you know, Bible thumping, this and that for they were counting on that for me. And it was they showed me later because I went through this initiation and passed that's how many go into the places they don't want to go because they're giving power away. And that's the opposite of what you want to do here. You literally came here to do it yourself. And that's why the kingdom is found within you. It will never come from outside of you. Everything is backwards. We believe we're worshiping and doing these things to appease and love the God that created us. Well, yeah, you're giving it to a demiurge that's electric and stole Source's creation and is utilizing you as a slave to do it. So bingo, go where you want to go. Believe what you want to believe. Give your power to that which you serve. But most people don't know what they're serving here because they believe that this is the realms of God when Jesus clearly told everybody that this is not my Father's house. Where I go, you may not enter, Satan. This is your world. This is not mine. So we've been told very clearly where this is. This is the world of the fallen angels. And we're here.
Oh, I lost my thought. How interesting.
That's kind of a lot.
No, here it is. Here it
You
is.
get me to dive deep fast. I'm like, oh, she asked the right questions, and there we go.
So, just because we are talking about Bible thumping and so on, I also recently saw a video clip where a pastor said something along the lines of Gaza should be turned into a parking lot. And I was sitting there like, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. At the very least, we are talking about expulsion. Because if entire Gaza is one parking lot, that means nobody can live there. So at the very least,
Anybody
expulsion.
think that's okay? How I cannot for 1 second understand how one person could get up and tell people that that is okay.
Yeah, but just let me finish. And then he went on to say, and that is where I really have a problem with evangelicals. I know not everybody is like that, but there is a, yeah, let's say Zionist group within evangelicals. And he literally said, and then when you blow up the dome of the rock, let us build the third temple, and we will usher in the second coming. And there's the arrogance. We usher in the second coming. Who the fuck do you think you are? And you call yourself a pastor, and you know everybody, he's spewing his shit and his hate, and everybody's saying, Israel. Yeah. And honestly, you idiots, you think you are going to be saved while you are yelling for genocide? Are you nuts?
You got it. Oh, Judith, wow, spot on. Wow. Wow.
I can understand if people believe prophecy. I get it. People believe prophecy and they are excited about the second coming. So, but here's the point. If there is God's plan and it is as you believe, and it then let it unfold naturally. You do not have to meddle with it. You are not the one who is going to usher it in.
Correct. You know, the second coming of Christ, it does not say that he will return in the flesh. At one time, it says he will return with an army.
What happened? What happened? I hear you as if you're sitting on Pluto.
Really?
The sound completely.
Is it better or is it crazy? They just got my audio. They don't like when I talk like this, Judith. Hold on, I'll fix it. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yep, they got my audio. They do that sometimes. They zap it. Yeah. So yeah, this is interesting that, you know, the whole thing of the second coming of Christ. When I was I have a very weird foundation. Like I said, I remembered the Lord was his name to me as a child. He was never named Jesus, but the Lord who looks just like Jesus, because when I saw a picture of him when I was 3, I pointed straight at that picture. I said, "That's my Lord. How do you know him? Why is he on your hanging on your wall?" I'd never seen that before. I wasn't in church. I didn't know. I was 3. I had no idea. So with that experience, he was my invisible friend. I talked to him my whole life and I'd ask lots of questions. And when I went to church, because I saw him and they said, "Oh, you got to go to church to meet him." I thought he was a real person like me. So I went to church and then he explained to me, "You might not want to go here because they'll tell you you can't see me or hear me and you won't." And I was like, "I ain't giving up on that. You're my best friend. You're smarter than the humans around here. So why would you do that? That would be stupid." So I just went about my merry on little way and never got really into religion. My parents didn't force it on me, which was beautiful. And I went to church camp when I was 13 because I thought it would fun to ride horses. And I got taken over by the Holy Spirit in front of the whole freaking church. So weird shit's always happened to me my whole life regarding religion. But this being was in my consciousness from the time I was born. And I could see him and he always gave me great advice, the whole thing. This is a serious, deep program that was in my consciousness. And when I started to break through those layers of consciousness and he told me I could finally start reading the Bible and he would teach me, and whatever this being is honestly, I can never say one bad thing because he's always taught me truth. And those truths have helped me break free from religion and from the whole program of the world because of the guidance. And he would explain to me how the Bible is being read wrong and it's 3 levels deep, just like all trinities in the world. He'd show me it's allegory, metaphor, it's also history and genetics, but the third part is astrotheology, which is the study of the connection to the planets and the stars and all that. So he would show me these things. And when I would realize later that they were all true and real, It was just deeper levels of confirmation. I was like, wow. But then I realized that that was probably a program in my construct from my soul, which was being harnessed into an electrical system that was false. And that was probably a holographic image that I was producing from my own knowing of the real one that exists in the higher eternal realms. So this one would be the fake copycat, which, what is the devil? The copycat, the trickster, the adversary, the one that pretends to be God but is not. So then I thought, oh shit, you might be the devil because you're in this place. This place is not the Father's house. I realized at that point I was dealing with an artificial intelligence that was going to capture my soul into this matrix, pretending to be the Lord Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
That was hard to deal with. But I do know that that being does exist, but it's not here. That's why he will not return in the flesh. And when he says, Christ is here, Christ is there, Christ is everywhere, he said, do not believe them. That's what he said, not me. So he's not, that's what he told me, but that's what's in the Bible. So people can believe he's coming in the cloud. Yeah, the cloud, again, is a duplicate representation of that which is real. The cloud is your consciousness. But we are now being connected and we're putting all of our data into an artificial cloud via your phone. So you're connecting to the AI cloud, and other people are still connecting to the cloud. That's the true consciousness coming from the sun. And that is an image of a representation of the sun. So there's the real eternal sun, but the copycat down here is going to get many because you believe in the gods of this world. You miss the whole point.
Yeah. And
This is an
there's also,
electric universe.
yeah, and there's also an astrotheological aspect to this.
Yes.
The sun
Yes.
and the clouds. Yeah, of course. The sun
Yes.
comes with the clouds in the morning. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the cloud is the information. And what is a cloud? It's a mist. What has the Holy Spirit been seen as when it's been seen as the Shekinah, the holy mist or the holy glory? It comes in like a mist, like a fog. It's a cloud,
Mm.
but it's the organic one. It's not the
Yeah.
one created by Google.
Yeah.
The goo is going to get LEU,
Yeah.
UL in reverse.
Yeah.
Goo. Oh, it's all on the
So all
words, Judith.
I can say is, to those people who expect to, yeah, the thing is, the second coming for them is, they hear Armageddon and the whole 9 yards, but that is the belief, will be raptured out here before all of that happens. So
They're
in
going to be
other
really
words,
disappointed.
the other ones can all go to hell. We will be beamed out of here. And because we find that idea so attractive, and now we are even so arrogant and say we usher it in. No, you're going to usher in jack shit, but you condemned
Yeah.
yourself because
Yeah.
if you think that you are going to be saved while you are calling for genocide, there is something deeply wrong with you. And all I can say is good luck with that.
Me too. They're going to need it.
Yeah.
They're going to need it. Yeah. Because, yeah,
That I
this
found
is,
really disturbing.
it is disturbing, Judith. You're absolutely right. And all I can say to the end of that is it's like, oh God, I just had it and then it went right from my brain. Of course, they would want to block this one because it was powerful. Um, all I know is it has to do with judgment. And when you judge, you will be judged. And even God's elect would be deceived by this deception because it would be so grand. So those of you who think that you know, I can promise you, you don't. And I can tell you to be humble in front of creation is to understand as much as you know you don't know shit because you can't even fathom the power of this God thing you claim you know. And if you try to label it, you definitely don't know creation. So with that, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people thinking they were doing the right thing and trying to save souls. Bottom line is that's never been your job. Nobody can save your soul, only you can. Nobody can do it for you. That's even scripture. They tell you that. The salvation is an internal work. It cannot be given. It is done inside. So your salvation will never come from an outside source. It will come from your choices, your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors. And if you're condemning your fellow brothers and sisters to murder because they don't believe the same way you do, you are in trouble. That's just what I
But
was
the
shown.
other side is also calling for the same thing. So here we go.
Absolutely, Judith.
Yeah. But I think in general, it also has to do, we get fed, no matter what religion, we get fed a picture, an image of God that is actually
False.
filled with book. It's for simpletons.
You can't label creation. And as soon
Yeah.
as you define it, it's just like you just messed up that blank sheet of paper. Just like Manly P. Hall explains, if you want to know God, you will know the potential of all that is existing all at the same time, and you can't wrap your human little brain around that. So you are the dot that messed up that perfect sheet of paper because you're a point of expression out of the fullness of all that is. So that's how you get to create your sheet and your experience, and you're doing it right now. But bottom line is, if you try to define that blank sheet of paper, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to describe the unfathomable. It's hard to describe the unformed. It's hard to describe the omnipotent, omnipresent, eternal source of code and information, giving life to all that exists. It's way too big for our consciousness.
Yeah.
God's way bigger than we've been taught.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
but what we are getting fed is this, yeah, you have to be careful at every corner, otherwise God will strike you down. And
Yeah.
don't you dare to do this or that, or even think this or that. Yeah.
Traps and tricks to keep you bound to the grounding of the earth. So
Mm,
remember, you're grounded into the earth to keep your spirit anchored, because as soon as you lose your ground, you're gone. You're back up into the energy bodies. So, but what you do when you're here, and the information that you take into your being is going to affect your energy or your etherical body when you leave. And whatever you have focused your attention on, you will be drawn to that point of focused energy that matches it like a magnet, and you won't be able to stop it. Why do you see the images of people being sucked down into the lower realms? It's because of what they've created and what they've done. Has nothing to do with with creation itself. It has to do with what you did with the creation you were given.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Trina, that was deep today.
Yeah, it was deep. I said, You always ask the right questions. You get me going."
Trina was on fire here.
Yeah, we didn't even get to the numbers, Judith. We'll have to tackle that on another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I loved it. And my goodness, we have been on it for almost 1.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Doesn't feel like that long. I knew a
No,
little, well, wow.
I have the impression it was, I don't know, like,
Quick.
yeah, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we covered a lot of stuff today. And like I said, guys, I don't know all the answers. I don't know if I'm right. These are theories. These are my own personal, what's been shown to me through my sincere asking. So whether or not I'm right or wrong, I don't know. But maybe it's right for my perspective of my soul's journey and where I'm coming from. And I'm here to learn, obviously a little different than most. And all I can say is, for the ones who are seeking these similar frequencies of expansion, it would resonate with. But those who are not ready, or they just have no idea of these concepts, it's going to rock your boat. And I apologize for that. But confusion is what sets the mind free to truth. So embrace confusion if it hits you, and things that confuse you are opening up boxes from the cells you've placed yourself in. So you've just given yourself your keys to freedom to explore different boxes or parts of your own consciousness that you yet haven't explored. So these treasures are within you. They really are. And we all
And
have different
you know,
ones.
if we lay out such lines of thought, it doesn't mean everybody has to jump on the bandwagon.
Right.
It's, you know, it's
That's so
just out
important.
there, and nobody expects to say, yeah, rah, 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 I think the same.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So
We
no
don't know.
need to, no need to get nervous.
Right. I think we're lagging a little bit, Judith. You can hear it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
think a
then
little bit.
now my sound is okay, but you know, doesn't matter. We are at the end.
That's because they want to shut me up.
Okay, so that was it, guys. Night flight for today. We see you all next time. Until then, stay safe and sound.